this is Postman, and this is the walkthrough for the third track of the Rites of Calling EP. Track is called Ancestral Data, and it featured some extra percussion kindly provided by Byzantine time machines. They are great artists. I really recommend to check them out. And again, I'd like to thank Aryan for hitting me up with them and really receiving the demo as well. So this track is actually the soundtrack for the Rite of Cunning. So it's rather more minimal in tone. It has more like textural percussion, less tonal elements, especially when you compare it to the other tracks. It's obviously the most electronic kind of one. I think also the most weird or abstract one. And I think that it fits quite the theme of cunning way better. The theme of the Rite of Cunning was kind of derived by the aspects of the color blue in the MTG color pie, which is kind of more brainy, I guess. Yeah, I'll read you the story for this rite. Alex is somewhat confused by the cryptic advice his ancestors gave him. He doesn't need to worry, as no one can triumph all challenges equally. The rites serve as guidance for one's adult life, to find their calling. A rite is passed when the ring blesses the challenger with the according mark. Tao's attempt at summoning Tu was near to fruitless, though Ray managed seemingly without effort. All received the mark of community nonetheless, as the way of the rings and the harvesters is mysterious. Alex feels confident in the next challenge, the Rite of Cunning. He and his friends will have to enter the birthing grounds, the place where their first ancestors long dead came to life out of machines made by the harvesters. Here they will have to access the ancient codex, a gift from the harvesters. The village elder asked them to find out where the other hunting grounds may lay, as the village supply starts to dwindle. The codex must contain the knowledge. The elder is confident. Alex knows the task seems trivial, but stealings guard the place for unwelcome trespassers. The young ones will have to prove their cunning. Okay, so first of all, in this project, you'll see, or you'll hear that there is no really that loop reiteration technique I talked to you about in the other tracks. That's because originally it had a kind of loop like it, but then I built some elements around that, and it didn't seem to fit the brief, so I just deleted that aspect and left the elements I built around it. Fitted the track somewhat more, I guess. So it was held building the track, but isn't featured anymore in the track. But whatever. The intro of the track is again quite minimal, more cinematic, kind of painting the moment when Alex and his friends are opening the gates of the birthing grounds. Like that screeching kind of door. In the intro we have like the kicks, which I'll talk about later, and those kind of glitchy, snippy kind of textures, some drony flutes here and there for percussion, and some other dronish elements. So the drop is quite conservative, kind of minimal, really focused on the percussion, that slow meditative pulsing thing. I think the main elements are obviously the kicks. It's actually 3 kicks again for a XOR sample pack. Oh no, all different kicks, which I all processed together, and they are all processed by the all-pass machine, so a collection of lots of OTT stacked together, which brings out all the artifacts and glitchy tones of the kicks. But all of these all-pass instances are racked in a dry-wet rack, and they're kind of being enveloped. So only a snippet of the glitchy textures are being are bleeding through. You can see it here. They're really short automations. Yeah, or just really kind of minimal. Oh. Yeah, just adding tone and texture. Then the kicks are being complemented with this simple snare. It's a bit resonated, kind of roomy, boomy. And all the kicks and snare are being sent to a reverb sent track, actually Valhalla Room, being fed through an OTT again to bring out all the spatial artifacts, and processed with a stereo with plugins just to make sure it doesn't phase out too much. Yeah, that's kind of, it's really minimal, kind of hypnotic like. Yeah. Further, there are some percussion going on. The first hit or kick of each of every 4 bar is being accentuated by a sub boom, I guess. Oh no, it's just kind of a cymbal-ish thing, I guess. Yeah, just adding some room to the whole mix. That cymbal is being quite heavily crushed by a saturator, which just gives it that gritty tone. It's the track, I guess. And then we get to the sub. There's not really much bass going on. The sub is quite weird because it's those 3 main kick samples in one track, being transient shaped, so I cut off all the attack, just left the sustain, EQ'd it, and then put it through a Corpus effect, which is kind of simulating some physical modeling. So the original samples are kind of functioning as an exciter for some kind of membrane, which here is a kind of pipe tuned to I don't know, yeah, tuned to yeah, the note of the track. I guess it's all a G. Yeah. Which is a fun thing. I learned really way too late. So you have this sidechain kind of option in Corpus, in which you can feed MIDI through, and then it will automatically feed the or pitch the Corpus device with the MIDI you fed it in. Okay, so the first drop is kind of minimal, some percussion going on. Again, this textual, tribal, laid back kind of stuff. Some minimal pads and effects going on. Then there's a kind of switch section, bringing more tonal elements in it. It's kind of mallets,
So just physical modeling and some paths from massive and unfiltered audio lines, some really kind of minimal bass sample snippets. Okay, then we have the break, which again features more effects like vocal snippets, kind of incomprehensible messes, which are really being heavily processed on their own, just to add texture, being stretched out, some UI effects and whatnot. Also, I'm feeding again the same main kicks through an ambient machine, so kind of resonator kind of stuff, to create a kind of drone. And also there's some percussion featured by Byzantine time machine. So there's a frame drum, another frame drum, being processed. Here a Defi fed through a reverb and spectral blur, which is kind of spectral reverb Max for Live device. The Darbuka is being fed through a delay line and then through again a spectral blur device, and so on. So it's furthering that joiny kind of feel. Some clicks and pops here. Okay, and the second drop is kind of the same, so the same kind of rhythm for the kicks, but here the kicks are bleeding more of that those artifacts. Especially here. Yeah, those really kind of nasty kind of stuff, because it's they're just barely being opened up. Sounds quite okay, but it really changes the sound dramatically. So the snares are being changed for kind of microfunk like or microfunk like snare loop. So not your typical snare sounds, but they function as a snare. And again, more percussion from Byzantine time machine, furthering the tribal meditative groove. Some flutes, adding some tonality to it. Also being heavily processed by a lot of plugins, some delay lines, and pitch shifting. Again, here's delays and whatnot, and so on and so on. And well, to be honest, that's actually the track. I think it sounds quite intricate and cinematic, but deep down it's not that complicated. I think it's the way how I process things and merge the kind of elements. Okay, that's it for the video. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, leave a like. If you want to subscribe, please do so. Give the EP a listen, and I'll see you next time.